Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six, 1998, the Eagle Watch Expansion Pack, 1999, Rainbow Six Rogue Spear, 1999, Urban Operation Pack, 2000, the Blackthorn Pack, 2001, Rainbow Six Takedown Missions in Korea, 2001, Lone Wolf, 2002, Rainbow Six 3, Raven Shield, 2003, Athena's Sword, Black Arrow, Iron Wrath expansion packs released in 2004 and 2005, Rainbow Six Broken Wings, 2003, the Urban Crisis Pack, 2004, Rainbow Six Lockdown, 2006, Rainbow Six Critical Hour, 2006, Rainbow Six Vegas, 2006, and later ported to other consoles in 2007, Rainbow Six Vegas 2, 2008, Rainbow Six Shadows Vanguard, 2011, Rainbow Six Patriots, which was sadly cancelled, and now the game that I am talking about at 11:21 p.m. instead of sleeping or doing any of my work, Rainbow Six Siege. Rainbow Six Siege was released on December 1st, 2015. When this game was released, it had a 7,941 average player base on Steam and is now currently at 96,348. Even though these are good numbers for average players, Siege didn't make a huge revival until almost 3 years after it was released, when Operation Blood Orchard was announced. Now, I know that Siege had a constant growing player base before Blood Orchard, but it was steadily dying and constantly losing more players than game. That's what I'm here to talk about. Why did the game make such a huge revival? Or more, how did it make such a huge revival? At launch, Siege had a nice comfortable number of players, peaking at 20,000 the first 2 months it was released. The game offered unique gameplay that was a mixture of many beloved games and game modes, but I'll get to that later. The fall of Siege started in the month of February 2016 when Operation Black Ice was released, and that's also when the average player and peak players dropped by about 2,000. This was only 3 months after its release, and it just got worse. From there on, the game would gain a small amount of players and instantly lose double of what was gained, and the reason for this could have been in the gameplay. After a while, the game didn't just get dull and boring, but bugs were being noticed and nothing was being done to fix them. Operation Black Ice did add new elements such as maps, operators, and weapons, but it was only enough to maintain a small portion of its players, and was eventually forgotten or never even heard of by a lot of people. Now, Six Siege started off rough and did things wrong, such as the dull, buggy, clunky gameplay. But what did it do right? The game was unique. Earlier I mentioned that Siege is an inspiration of many beloved games such as Battlefield and CSGO, but also adds its own elements, making a completely beautiful creation. The team behind Siege just couldn't maintain its beauty. This wasn't just another search and destroy PvP video game, its mechanics and gameplay are highly reliant on the physicality and the world around you. Siege was created to enforce and reinforce anything that could give you leverage during the round. So what does this have to do with its death and revival? Well, since the game started off dull and buggy, the game's originality kept at least a little of its following, and when new operators, skins, and maps were added, the game did gain a tiny amount of players, but couldn't keep them, having players leave only a month after an operation was released. The team behind Siege addressed some bugs in Operation Health, but not much was done, and it lost a little over 6,000 players. Operation Health mainly focused on fixing mechanics, no new operators, no new maps, no new guns. This slowly gained back respect from its community and gained around 5,000 players until Blood Orchard. You see, Six Siege is like the cute baby that grew up to be terribly ugly but got plastic surgery, and now everyone wants a piece. Blood Orchard was the first of many surgeries that started off his journey to a flaming hot mess. This operation didn't just focus on interesting operators, weapons, and maps, but it was one of Siege's largest updates that fixed the game's mechanics, bugs, and textures. The next huge operation that completely put the game into light was Operation White Noise, gaining 37,176 average players until Operation Chimera was released, and even then the game gained 14,316 followers. In April of 2018, Siege lost more players, but 2 months later, it gained double the amount of players, and then lost players again. Then back, and the cycle continues. but that's what the game does best. Introduces fixes that could and will lose players, but gain back more, building an even bigger community that spreads to the old community, bringing them back because they actually cared about the game and built some nostalgia around it. And that's another thing that the team does right about the game. It's a perfect place to build nostalgia around. Now, I wish I didn't have to end this on a feel bad for me sappy story, but it's how I got into the game. So to continue, Rainbow Six Siege is really nostalgic for me because when I found the game, I wasn't in the best place of my life. It was 2018 and I was living in a small apartment with my 3 siblings and mother because she had just got a divorce with my stepdad. Well, to cope with this, my friend and I bought R6 and couldn't stop playing. It was amazing and such a unique new experience for us that it never got old. Later on, my parents got back together, but right after followed a flood that washed away my house, and luckily I saved my crappy laptop I had at the time. After the flood, we moved back into the apartment with my siblings, my mom, stepdad, grandma, aunt, and cousins. The apartment was only 2 bedrooms and my laptop was used as the TV, so when everyone went to bed, I hopped on with my friend and we would play until 5 in the morning. This went on even on school nights, until I moved without Wi-Fi for a year. In 2019, I finally obtained decent internet service, and one of the first things I did was open up R6, and the feeling I had long ago was still there. So if you play the game and enjoy it or not, you have to admit that Siege is a game like no other and does everything really well. At first, you would think that bug fixes are randomly put out, but they aren't. The developers think about what to fix, knowing it will lose players but gain old ones back, getting their friends to join as well, and these friends have new experiences or remember old ones, leaving them to spread the stories of the game, attracting more players until another operation is released, and the cycle continues from there on at a never-ending loop, always gaining more players than lost. And that is how Rainbow Six Siege revived nearly 3 years after its release.